from the Big Flem Studios. This is Big Flem's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition 2023 with your host, Lorenzo Big Flem Fleming. Hey folks, what's going on? It's another college football Saturday, and this is week 3 of the college football season, and this is Big Flem's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition 2023, and I'm your host, the extraordinaire, the debonair, Lorenzo Big Flem Fleming. As I mentioned just a minute ago, we're in week 3 of college football, and of course last week we had some big thrillers last week with Texas, the University of Texas Longhorns, with a stunning upset of the University of Alabama Crimson Tide, Roll Tide, there in Tuscaloosa, where Alabama got their first home loss under the Nick Saban era, and also the first home loss by double digits in, 19 years. I think it was 19 years, they said. And of course, the same thing, the first home loss, double digit under Nick Saban era as well. So that's a big stunner for Nick Saban, but he still has time to turn the ship around for the Crimson Tide, so I wouldn't panic too much. But I also have to be careful, too. You don't want to get another loss before the Iron Bowl, which he's still got 2 months away from the Iron Bowl. So Nick Saban got to get it together and get back on track, especially next month when the college football rankings come out in mid-October, where it really counts. So best of luck to you, Nick Saban. I know my fellow Georgia fans don't want me saying that, but it's all good. This is my show. I'll do what the heck I want to do. Now, I digress. So now let's get back to the subject at hand. Week 3 picks for the week that Big Flem Pigskin Picks want to look at for this week's games. Of course, my home state and the current number 1 team in the nation and the current defending 2-time national champions, the University of Georgia Bulldogs, open up their SEC schedule at home under the light, actually it's this afternoon, at Sanford Stadium on Vince Dooley Field between the hedges, where we host the University of South Carolina Gamecocks, aka the Game Chickens. Of course, like I say, Sean Beamer, he's the current coach there. Like I say, they opened up their season against North Carolina. They got their butts handed to them by North Carolina. They managed to rebound last week. So now everybody's talking tough about, Carson Beck. He struggled a bit in the last 2 games, and he finally got his act together. And right now, everybody's saying this is the true test for Carson Beck as quarterback of the University of Georgia Bulldogs. And let's see that if he'll be able to pass the test. One of our wide receivers, DeConkey, right now I think he's doubtful or he's out for today's game. So that's one of his main weapons that he needs. So someone has to step up. One of the other wide receivers, and of course Brock Bowers, our all college pro wide tight end. He's going to step up, and like I say, we can get our running game going against that South Carolina defense. I think we should be able to pull out a victory over South Carolina Gamecocks, aka Game Chickens. So we're going to go with my home state team and the defending 2-time national champion, the Georgia Bulldogs, over the South Carolina Gamecocks, aka the Game Chickens. All right, our next pick, we have the number 3 ranked Florida State Seminoles. They travel on the road, heading up north, across the Mason-Dixon line, up there to Chestnut Hill and the suburbs of Boston to take on the Boston College Eagles. Right now they're dealing with a little bit of weather with Hurricane Lee looming off the coast of Cape Cod and Massachusetts and New England coast. Also, I want to send out a special prayer for all the folks in the New England area, from Massachusetts all the way up to Maine. Be careful out there with Hurricane Lee approaching the coast. I know especially eastern Maine is getting battered with some rain and wind, as well as Massachusetts and Cape Cod, as well as New Hampshire, and of course Maine. So folks, be careful out there. Stay indoors. Please don't go out if you don't have to travel. Don't go out. Just stay put and watch your games today, and stay safe. All right, getting back to the game at hand. Like I said, Florida State, they started off the season, beating LSU at home. And right now, they're doing pretty good. Right now, they have high expectations for the Florida State Seminoles this year. So right now, we're going to go with Florida State over Boston College in a close game. All right, our next pick we have is the number 15 ranked Kansas State Wildcats. They travel into Columbia, Missouri to take on the Missouri Mizzou Tigers from the SEC. Like I said, they once played each other years ago under the old Big 8 conference before they expanded to the Big 12 before Missouri moved to the SEC. So right now we're going to go with Kansas State over Missouri. Sorry, Mizzou Tigers. All right, our next match is a Big Ten matchup where we have the number 7 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions traveling to Champaign, Illinois, southwest of Chicago, to take on the Fighting Illini of the University of Illinois. Right now, we expect this to be a close contest with Penn State versus Illinois. Like I said, the Penn State offense is doing pretty good. And right now, everybody's talking about that they'll be the force to be reckoned with in the Big Ten this year, up against the likes of the Ohio State Buckeyes, aka the Buckaroos, and the Michigan Wolverines, and stuff like that. So they're going to make some noise. So this will be their first start of the Big Ten conference test as they play against the Fighting Illini. So we're going to go with Penn State over the Fighting Illini of Illinois. All right, our next pick we have Louisville Cardinals as they travel up north, travel I-65 north to Bloomington to take on the Indiana Hoosiers. The Hosers, I call them. But like I said, I don't see much stats on these guys, so we're going to go with Louisville Cardinals over the Indiana Hoosiers. All right, our next pick, going back to my home state of Georgia, one of my other home state teams, is the Georgia Southern Eagles. They're really going to have a big test as they travel up to Madison, Wisconsin, and Camp Randall Stadium to take on the Wisconsin Badgers. Like I said, I've visited Wisconsin 2 years ago when I had to attend, senior leaders course, or SLC, for the military. For our military fans out there, they know what I'm talking about. At the nearby Fort McCoy, Wisconsin, and I had a chance to travel to Madison. Pretty nice city, nice folks there at Madison. Like I said, Georgia Southern's going to have a real big test on their hands against Wisconsin. So I hate to go against my Eagles of Georgia Southern, but we're going to go with Wisconsin Badgers over Georgia Southern Eagles by at least 2 touchdowns, possibly 3, depending on how Georgia Southern plays. So, all right. Our next pick is another SEC matchup the second SEC matchup, I stand corrected, where the number 14 ranked LSU Bengal Tigers, or Bayou Tigers, as they travel to Starkville, Mississippi, to take on the Cowbells of Mississippi State Bulldogs, the other Bulldogs in the SEC, the minor one, that is. Right now, LSU recovered last week after being beaten by Florida State in their season opener 2 weeks ago. So right now, if they want to be a force to be reckoned with in the SEC West division, right now is the time to get it together here. So, especially with Alabama losing last week to Texas. So we're going to go with the LSU Bengal Bayou Tigers over Mississippi State. All right. Our next pick we have the number 20 ranked North Carolina Tar Heels, as they have a home game here. They're 2-0, as they have a home game against the Minnesota Golden Gophers from the Big Ten. And like I said, North Carolina, like I mentioned before, they beat South Carolina in the Battle of the Carolinas in the season opener. And North Carolina barely squeaked by Appalachian State last week. Like I said, Appalachian State gave them a handful last week. So a win is a win. So that's all that matters. So they're going to have a decent test against Minnesota. So we're going to go with the number 20th ranked North Carolina Tar Heels over Minnesota Golden Gophers in this matchup. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Big Flem's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition 2023 for week number 3 here on Big Flem Radio and TV. Big Flem Radio and TV would like to honor the legacy and contribution of Hispanics, Latinos, and Chicanos as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Months. Big Flem Radio and TV would like to give a shout out to all our Latino, Hispanic, and Chicano listeners. And I want to thank you for all that you do and what you have accomplished, as well as what you contribute to our society as a whole. Big Flem Radio and TV honors Hispanic Heritage Month. Welcome back, folks. Of course, by now, like I said, Big Flem Radio and TV has been recording podcasts sporadically over the last 3 to 4 years. And I always put out this pitch. If you haven't heard by now, I would highly suggest that you check out Big Flem Radio and TV. It's a podcast show dedicated to music, talk, sports, as of right now, college football and NFL football, but willing to expand to other sports if needed, and veterans information and issues. And also, we're getting ready to add another channel that'll be focusing on new artists that from different genres of music that I would like to showcase. So, like I said, please, by all means, please check out Big Flem Radio and TV, the podcast shows. And like I said, check out the website at www.bigflemradiotv.com. Again, that's www.bigflemradiotv.com. That's one word. BIGFLEM as in Mike, RADIO TV. Also, please check out the Big Flem Radio and TV online store where we sell Big Flem Radio and TV themed merchandise or merch. You know, if you're looking for that special gift for that special someone, friend, family, co-worker, alien from Mars, stranger, and even a special care package gift for our military who are currently serving on the front lines on the war on terror, as well as any other hot spots out there around the world. You know, by all means, please check it out. And also, if you want to be a guest picker or a guest prognosticator on this podcast show, as well as our NFL podcast show, Big Flem Pigskin Picks NFL Edition, or if you want to send a request, a musical request, you want to send a dedication to someone on our music shows, or you want to be a participant in one of our talk show podcasts, or if you want to leave us a comment or a criticism of how we're doing at Big Flem Radio and TV, or if you want to make some suggestions, by all means, please reach out to us at our email at bigflemradiotv@gmail.com. Again, that's bigflemradiotv@gmail.com. And also, we have a presence on our social media. We have a now it's called X, formerly known as Twitter. We're at Flem_radio. That's Flem, FLEM as in Mike, _radio, RADIO. And also, we have a Facebook group page, Big Flem Radio and TV. And also, we have a YouTube channel. Right now, we have a few videos on there. We try to record some videos to correspond with some of our podcast shows and episodes. So we have some archival footage on there as well. You can check those out as well as some other videos that I post on there from time to time. So please check it out. And also pass it on to your friends, pass it on to your co-workers, loved ones, so on and so forth. Please check out the podcast channel and the podcast shows as well. We really need your support. Also, if you would like to be a sponsor for one of our podcast shows, if you want to have a commercial to promote your business, please also contact us at the email address at bigflemradiotv@gmail.com. We'll be interested in partnering up with you to promote your business or your products. Or if you want to sponsor one of our podcast shows, via commercial, stuff like that. So please get with us. All right, now let's get back to our college football picks for week 3, shall we? All right. Our next picks we have the number 16th ranked Oregon State Beavers at 2-0 as they host the San Diego State Aztecs. Like I said, San Diego, they're pretty good. San Diego State Aztecs, they're pretty good. Stuff like that. They're 2-1. And like I said, right now the odds folks got Oregon State at minus 24.5 with the over and under 48.5 for Oregon State. So we're going to go with Oregon State Beavers over San Diego State. All right, our next matchup, we have a little mini battle of Oklahoma where we have the 19th ranked Oklahoma Sooners at 2-0 as they travel to Tulsa, northeast of Norman, Oklahoma on the I-44. It's a lovely city, Tulsa. I've been there. What was that, last year? The year before last. Anyway, it's a pretty nice city. I spent the night there. It's pretty nice. Where they travel to and play the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes at 1-1. Right now, we get the odds with Oklahoma at minus 28.5, and they got the over and under at 58.5. So we're going to go with the Oklahoma Sooners over Tulsa by at least 2 touchdowns in this game. All right, our next pick we have the number 8 ranked Washington Huskies at 2-0 from the Pac-12. As right now, we just found out that they're planning on switching over to the Big Ten, stuff like that. So, and they'll be playing their future Big Ten foe, the Michigan State Spartans, at home in East Lansing, also at 2-0. And of course, if you're a big Michigan State fan, I know you're dealing with the issue of their embattled coach Mel Tucker over sexual assault, sexual harassment allegations that was brought against him. Right now, he's currently suspended from the team, and right now they have an interim head coach filling in for him at the time being. And I know that's a big distraction for the Michigan State Spartans football team and the program. So hopefully that whatever happens, and things work out for the positive and stuff like that. And we'll hope for the best for Michigan State Spartans. Right now, a lot of the professional sports pickers pick Washington State over Michigan State, but I'm going to go against the grain. We're going to go against the grain, shall we? And we're going to go with the Michigan State Spartans in a close one over the number 8 Washington Huskies. Right now, the odds folks got the Huskies at a 16.5 point favorite with an over and under of 55.5. But we're going to go with Michigan State Spartans, the Sparty, in the Spartan Stadium in East Lansing. I know the weather's there. It's pretty nice there. All right, our next pick, we go back to my home state of Georgia. We're going to look at another Georgia team. We have the Georgia State Panthers at 2-0 as they travel to Charlotte to take on the UNC Charlotte 49ers. Right now, Georgia State, they have the odds pick at minus 6.5 with an over and under 52.5. So we're going to go with the Georgia State Panthers in a close one over Charlotte 49ers, who are 1-1, by the way. All right, our next pick is we have the Northern Illinois University NIU Huskies as they travel to Lincoln to take on the struggling 0-2 Nebraska Cornhuskers. Like I said, last year, Nebraska really sucked last year. And even my home state, Georgia Southern Eagles, beat them last year. It was so bad that they had to get rid of that coach that they had there. So Matt Rule, former coach at Baylor, who turned their program around, and they became almost a playoff contender a couple of years ago. And then he got hired by the NFL to coach the Carolina Pathetic Panthers. And they struggled, so he ended up getting fired. So now, and he's back in the coaching room again as he's trying to turn the Nebraska Cornhuskers program around. Right now, they're kind of struggling. They're starting off on a slow start there. Hopefully, they can finally get a win in the win column today. Right now, they got the odds makers. They got Nebraska at minus 13 with an over and under 42.5. So we're going to go with the Nebraska Cornhuskers to get their first win of the season over Northern Illinois Huskies at 1-1. All right, our next pick, we have the Vanderbilt Commodores at 2-1. Seem like they're starting off on a good start there in Nashville as they hit the road heading west to travel to Sin City, Las Vegas, to take on the University of Nevada, Las Vegas Running Rebels at 1-1. Right now, they got Vanderbilt as a minus 4.5 point favorite with the over and under 57.5. So I think it's going to be a close one, folks. So we're going to go with the Vanderbilt Commodores in a close game over the UNLV Rebels. All right, our next match will be one of our big-time rivals in the SEC, where we have the number 11th ranked Tennessee Volunteers, a.k.a. the Voluntoad, at 2-0 as they travel down to the Swamp to take on the struggling 1-1 Florida Gators. Like I say, right now this is Billy Napier's second season as head coach. Right now, there's a lot of expectation on him and their football program, and I know their alumni and boosters are not very happy with what they see so far. And I have a close co-worker of mine. He's a diehard Florida fan, but he's a highly critical of the coaching as well. So, and like I say, last year Tennessee beat Florida at Rocky Top in Knoxville. Right now, will they make it two in a row over the Gators? And like I said, that it's been a long time since they won down there in the swamp. So we're going to go with Tennessee, which is 2-0, over Florida handily. Sorry, Billy Napier and all you Florida Gator faithfuls, or as one of my other favorite podcast shows would say, those lousy stinking Gators, aka the Lizards. Right now, they got the odds makers got Tennessee in the 5.5 minus 5.5 point favorite with the over and under 56.5. But I think Tennessee is going to probably beat Florida by at least 2 touchdowns in this game in the swamp. We shall see. So we're going to go with the Gators. Number 11, Tennessee Volunteers, aka the Voluntold, over the Florida Gators, aka the Sea Stinking Gators. All right. Our next pick we have is the University of Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns at 1-1 as they go to Alabama, the B-Ham, as I call it, as they take on the University of Alabama Birmingham Blazers at 1-1 also. Right now, the odds makers have the Blazers at a minus 2.5 point favorite with a 59.5 over and under. But my personal favorite will be the Louisiana Raging Cajuns in a close game over UAB Blazers. All right, our next pick will be a little matchup there in the Alleghenies, as you got the Pittsburgh Panthers at 1-1 as they travel down I-79 south from Pittsburgh down to Morgantown to take on the West Virginia Mountaineers, also at 1-1. Right now, the odds makers got the Mountaineers at a minus 2.5 point favorite with an over and under 47.5. And I'm kind of sentimental with the Mountaineers, so we're going to go with the West Virginia Mountaineers over the Pitt Panthers in a close one. All right, our next pick we have the BYU Cougars at 2-0 as they hit the road and head east to take on the Arkansas Razorbacks, also at 2-0 in Fayetteville at Razorback Stadium. Right now, the odds makers got the Razorbacks at a minus 7.5 point favorite with the over and under 48. But I'm kind of another old sentimental favorite team, the BYU Cougars. So we're going to go with BYU Cougars over the Arkansas Razorbacks. All right, our next matchup will be dealing with another Georgia team, one that I deeply despise, but I still respect, especially in college basketball, that is. But we're sticking with college football here. We got the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, or we're calling the Rambling Wreck, aka the Broken Down Wrecks. Hint, hint, Roger Houston and Brian Knapp, the two favorite Georgia Tech fans there, if you're listening. Ha ha ha. They hit the road and they travel to Oxford, Mississippi to take on the number 17 ranked Ole Miss Rebels at 2-0. Like I said, Georgia Tech really stunk it up in their opening game against Louisville. And then they had to beat up a lowly HBCU college, historically black college and university at South Carolina State to get their first win of the season last week. So now they're going to take on somewhat of a real test as they take on Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, and the Ole Miss Rebels. Right now, they got Ole Miss at a minus 16.5 point favorite with the over and under 61.5. Who am I to disagree with the odds makers? So we're going to go with the number 17 ranked Ole Miss Rebels, handily beating the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, aka the Bumblebees, aka the Broken Down Wrecks. All right, our next pick, we have the number 13 ranked Oregon Ducks at 2-0 as they host the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors at 1-2. Right now, this is kind of a tune-up game before they host Colorado. And of course, Colorado, everybody, that's the big buzz going on this season with Deion Sanders prime time coaching. And, he got a lot of haters and a lot of critics, criticizing him and his program, how he built that program and how he run that program. But that's a different subject for a different day. So let's focus on the current game at hand here. Like I said, right now, We got the odds makers got Oregon in a runaway minus 38.5 point favorite and over and under 68.5 over Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. So we're going to stick with the number 13 ranked Oregon Ducks at 2-0 over the 1-2 Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. All right, folks, we're going to take another quick break and we'll be right back with Big Flem Pigskin Picks College Football Edition for week number 3 here on Big Flem Radio and TV. Welcome back, folks. All right, now let's get back to our picks, shall we, and get ready to wrap up this podcast episode, shall we? All right, our next pick we have the TCU Horned Frogs at 1-1 as they hit the road, travel from Fort Worth, Texas. I think it's I-45 or I-35 and then I-45. I think it's I-45, but anyway, for those who live in the area, you know what I'm talking about. As they travel down the interstate I-45, go down to Houston to take on the 1-1 Houston Cougars. Of course, you know TCU, they're the ones that got embarrassed in the national title game in January as Georgia destroyed them 65-7 to win their second straight national championship. And everybody thought it'll take a while for them to get over that beating. And of course, their quarterback got drafted in the last round in the NFL draft this past April. But now, moving forward to the current time, they lost their season opener against Colorado in a shootout. And then last week, they kind of turned their ship around last week. So now they're going to take on another test as they travel to play the Houston Cougars, who, from what I heard, I think they got an invitation to join the Big 12 next season. So, like I said, they'll probably end up playing against each other next season on a regular basis. So, right now, the odds makers have TCU at a minus 7.5 point favor with the over and under 64.5. So we're going to stick with TCU Horned Frogs in a close one over Houston Cougars. All right, our next pick, we have the Battle of New Mexico, the Silver State, as we got the 1-2 New Mexico State Aggies traveling from Las Cruces. That's what I'm trying to make sure I have the right cities. Las Cruces, as they travel north on I-25 up to Albuquerque to take on the New Mexico Lobos. Like I said, I've been to Albuquerque. It's a pretty nice city. My younger brother lives there, Adam Brown. Shout out to my younger brother. He lives there, and he loves it there. It's a pretty nice city. So, and also please check out that nice restaurant there. It's a Southwestern Grill restaurant called Casina Azul. It's a pretty nice restaurant. I've been there a couple of times, so check it out. But anyway, let's get back to the game at hand. Right now, we're looking at, and New Mexico is also 1-1. So right now, the odds makers have them at Lobos at a minus 2.5 point favorite with a 52.5 point over and under. So since I'm partial to Albuquerque, so we're going to go with the New Mexico Lobos over the New Mexico State Aggies. All right, our next pick, where speaking of Deion Sanders' old team that he coached to help him win 2 SWAC championships during his tenure there and help turn that program around, is the Jackson State Tigers, HBCU, from the SWAC, the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So they're 2-1 as they travel to Texas State, the Bobcats, and I believe Texas State is also a HBCU. So right now, with the foundation that Deion Sanders built there at Jackson State, and with his current coach, his successor, I think hopefully they'll keep things going there at Jackson State. So we're going to go with Jackson State Tigers over the Texas State Bobcats. All right. Our next pick, we have, just going back to Deion Sanders again, we have a big test in the state of Colorado where we have the number 18th ranked Colorado Buffaloes at 2-0 with last year, they doubled their win total from last year. And right now, Deion Sanders have a winning mantra going on there, and he has a winning culture there back in Boulder. Finally turned things around, and hopefully he'll continue on. But of course, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, he's going to come up with his first real big test as he traveled to Eugene or Salem? I think it's Eugene, Oregon, where he plays the Oregon Ducks in the Pac-12. His Pac-12 debut. So he's really going to get a big test there next week. But that'll be next week's show. We'll talk about that later. Going back to the subject at hand, we have the Battle of Colorado, where we have the 0-1 Colorado State Rams traveling down from Fort Collins and I-25 South to go down to Boulder to take on the number 18 ranked Colorado Buffaloes. Of course, the Colorado State Rams coach Jay Norvell kind of tried to stir up the pot a little bit by throwing a little shade at Deion Sanders, criticizing him for wearing shades and a hat and a hoodie or a hat during a test and the conference. And he made a comment about, a man shouldn't be wearing shades and a hoodie when talking to grown-ups. So I guess that's bulletin board material. And of course, Colorado have to clap back and respond to that. So we'll see tonight how they're going to clap back against Colorado State. Right now, the odds makers have the Buffaloes at a 23.5 point favorite with a over and under 63.5. And I want Deion Sanders to succeed there. I want him to get his third straight win. So we're going to go with the number 18 ranked Colorado Buffaloes over Colorado State in a beating, probably. I'm hoping for. But I'll say at least 2 touchdowns. Colorado will beat Colorado State. All right. Now let's go ahead and do a recap of our picks. Like I said, we started out. We picked the number 1 ranked and current defending 2-time national champion University of Georgia Bulldogs over South Carolina Gamecocks, aka the Game Chickens. We have the number 3 ranked Florida State Seminoles over the Boston College Eagles in Chestnut Hill. Also, folks up in the New England area, please stay safe and stay dry as you deal with Hurricane Lee. Also, we picked the number 15 ranked Kansas State Wildcats over the Missouri Tigers. We picked the number 7 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions over the Fighting Illini of Illinois. We picked the Louisville Cardinals over the Indiana Hoosiers, the Hosers. We picked the Wisconsin Badgers over the Georgia Southern University Eagles. Sorry, GSU Eagle fans. Also, we picked the number 14 ranked LSU Tigers over the Mississippi State Bulldogs. The minor Bulldogs in the SEC, of course. We picked the number 20th ranked North Carolina Tar Heels over the Minnesota Golden Gophers. We picked the number 16th ranked Oregon State Beavers over San Diego State Aztecs. We picked the number 19th ranked Oklahoma Sooners over Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. We picked Michigan State over the number 8th ranked Washington Huskies. We picked the Georgia State Panthers over the UNC Charlotte 49ers. We picked the Nebraska Cornhuskers to get their first win of the season over the Northern Illinois University Huskies. We picked the Vanderbilt Commodores to keep that winning streak alive, to be 3-1, as they barely beat UNLV Rebels. We picked the number 11th ranked Tennessee Volunteers, aka the Voluntold, over the lousy Florida Gators down there in the swamp. Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. We picked Louisiana Raging Cajuns over University of Alabama Birmingham Blazers. We picked the West Virginia Mountaineers over the Pittsburgh Pitt Panthers. We picked BYU Cougars over the Arkansas Razorbacks. We picked the number 17 ranked Ole Miss Rebels over the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, aka the Bumblebees, aka the Broken Down Rex. That one's for you, Roger Houston and Brian Knapp. And also, we picked the number 13th ranked Oregon Ducks over Hawaii Rainbow Warriors as that tune-up game to that big matchup next week against Colorado that's coming to town. Then we picked the TCU Horned Frogs over the Houston Cougars. We picked the New Mexico Lobos over New Mexico State Aggies. We picked Jacksonville State Tigers over the Texas State Bobcats. And last but not least, we picked the number 18th ranked Colorado Buffalo over Colorado State. All right, folks, that just about does it for this week 3 episode of Big Flem's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition. I hope you enjoyed this week's picks. And like I said, this is for entertainment purposes only. Like I said, I'm not an expert prognosticator. I'm just a typical college football fan, just like you. I like to try to add my little funny spin to the picks and stuff like that because there are other professional pregame shows out there on ESPN, Fox, whatever station out there or streaming services that have their own shows. I'm just doing it for entertainment purposes, folks. And I hope you like it. So with that in mind, I would say so long, stay blessed, stay safe, keep the faith, and tune in again next week for another edition of Big Flem's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition here on Big Flem Radio and TV. And again, I want to send up a special prayer for all the folks in New England. I pray that you stay safe as you deal with Hurricane Lee as it batters the coast of Maine, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts, as well as the New England area. So please stay safe and stay dry out there. And also, again, Big Flem Radio and TV would like to send a special shout out to all my Hispanic, Latino, Chicano listeners out there as you begin to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. And we want to thank you for your lasting contributions to our society, as well as the food as well. So take care. God bless. Stay safe.